Welcome back to Amiibo Doctor. After our last Amiibo misconceptions video, which you really should go watch, my comment section got much nicer. So today's misconceptions video is not going to be about one specific person's comments and rantings and musings and insults. Instead, we're going to be actually answering the questions that people have left for me in the comments. So if you want to learn more about Amiibo, and if you don't, I don't really know why you're here, stick around. Our first question is about the Team Power-Up Spirit. Now, you probably forgot that this spirit existed, which is fine because so did I. However, Team Power-Up Spirit is sort of a substitute for Armor Knight when you're in a doubles match, okay? A lot of people think that it's the best spirit in the game. Looking at the stats, I don't actually know if I buy that. I do think it's almost to Armor Knight level, and in a doubles match, it's good, but let's take a look at its stats. This right here is your two-person team stats. It changes when you have three, right? You have an 18% damage boost, memory serves. Armor Knight is 15%. You have a 30% defense boost, which that's already very formidable. That really is. It's very formidable. But Armor Knight, I'm pretty sure, is a 1.8 defense multiplier and not a 1.3. So, like, in terms of survivability, Armor Knight is just leagues ahead, okay? And in terms of damage, Armor Knight's only, like, slightly behind. So, if you're doing a doubles spirits Amiibo tournament, and Big Five are banned, that's Armor Knight, Super Armor, Slow Super Armor, Great Auto Heal, then you could use Team Power Up to sort of circumvent that, right? But it only affects doubles Amiibo. If you're playing on a single one and you put that on there, it's not going to do anything. It just has no effect at all. It's just a waste of a slot, you know? So Team Power Up might have been a better decision. This was on the Amiibo Tag Team Tournament video, by the way. Team Power Up might have been a better decision for you, might not have been, but I went with Armor Knight because even though the Halberd Spirit's rare, more people are going to have it. Instructions unclear, won doubles Amiibo tournament instead. Congratulations, Frosty. Our next question is not from Frosty, because that's not really a question. So this is one that I get fairly often. A lot of people, you know, they see the Amiibo tier list and like, well, that doesn't sound right at all, because my Bowser can beat all my best friends. Whoever made the Amiibo tier list, they are so wrong about Lucas. My Lucas Amiibo scares me, and my friends, heck, my strong apprentice, Mexi Ness Amiibo A+, fears his power. I'm not really sure what that last sentence says. So, generally speaking, there's several Amiibo tier lists. The credible Amiibo tier list, the one that most of the community agrees upon, that almost the entire community votes on, has a say in, is the one at amiibodoctor.com/tier list. That is the USAC Amiibo tier list. You'll see a lot of people putting out tier lists like every week, or every other week, or every once a month, right? And that's just to get viewership, or to get attention, you know? There's really no reason to be updating the Amiibo tier list that often, but no, generally speaking, the Amiibo tier list is the broad overall opinion of the competitive Amiibo trainer groups, right? And so it may seem counterintuitive because, like, at lower levels, maybe that tier list isn't true. But at higher levels it is. When Amiibo are being pushed to their extremes, it is. It's kind of like how, you know, at low level Smash Ultimate, like Ganondorf is really good because he's got big smash attacks that are really powerful, and maybe Sheik isn't that good because Sheik doesn't hit for much, right? But then if you have somebody who knows how to play Sheik, and somebody who knows how to play Ganondorf, Sheik can run circles around Ganondorf all stinking day because Sheik is really fast and can combo and can use the character to the best of their ability, right? So that's why the Amiibo tier list kind of looks weird to some people. There's also just a lot of intricacies to Amiibo AI. Like, literally, I could probably teach people about Amiibo training for the rest of my life and never tell you everything, just because there's that much to it. So I know the Amiibo tier list is a little bit weird. I get this comment very often. But no, it is reasonable to follow the Amiibo tier list. Our next question is from Donnie Creswell. Does anyone know the term for the min-min image showing a hitbox range graphic I forgore? I don't know what you mean by that, Donnie. No, I'm just kidding. So he's referencing the Min-Min Amiibo guide, okay? In the Min-Min Amiibo guide, I took some time to explain what the functional hitbox area is of an attack. So Amiibo, 99% of the time, they see their hitboxes exactly the way that the hitboxes are, right? Mario knows exactly where his forward tilt begins and ends. No question about that. When you have longer or more unusual hitboxes, that kind of becomes a problem. So you take Min Min's arms, for example. Her arms are huge. If you didn't know that, you've obviously never seen Min Min, right? What the developers did is they said, okay, we know that it's got some lag time between when you input versus when the hitbox actually gets to the pixel that you want, but if there's an enemy at that pixel or like within any range of your arm, throw out this attack, okay? And if you see the Min-Min Amiibo guide, you can see that that actually results in an SD issue for Min-Min sometimes, more so at lower levels, not so much at higher levels, but she'll try to attack an opponent who's on stage when she's falling on stage, and that keeps her from recovering. So that's a functional hitbox area. Doesn't affect most Amiibo, only really affects like large hitboxes or stall and fall moves in some cases as well. So our next question is about the Moonwalk Method. This is from Random Name. So my assumption for the Moonwalk Method and why it adds to aggression, this is on the How to Train Amiibo 101 addendum video, is something like, every time an Amiibo senses something in its threat range, there is a percentage chance it will attack. Since Moonwalk moves things in and out of potential attack range rapidly, there are essentially more of those chances to attack on average. Not quite. So let me show you what Truth said about the Moonwalk Method. So we sent Truth, in the Amiibo Patients Discord server, we sent Truth the bin files of some of our Amiibo that had been Moonwalk Method trained, and this is what he found. Alright, I got an update on what's going on with the Moonwalking Amiibo. Most of them have a high feint shooting stat and above average feint counter stat, but no feint master stat when I looked at them in the Smash Amiibo editor. This is basically, he looked at the data of the Amiibo itself, right? And you can recreate these results without moonwalking. You can simply do this by walking away from your Amiibo. I have a Ryu with the same feint stats as the Moonwalkers, and I didn't do any moonwalking, just normal walking happened to be away from him. It's sort of like the Amiibo is thinking that it can attack, and so it's ready to attack. And that's why they come out more aggressive, because there's a lot more opportunities to attack that the Amiibo is taking advantage of, right? And that just happens because you walk away from your Amiibo. And when you walk away from your Amiibo, it's seeing, oh, okay, when I have an opponent that's turned away from me or at X and Y distance or something along those lines, I can attack, right? So that's really it. It's actually not that complicated, and that's why Moonwalking Method works the way it does. So much like the Amiibo tier list comment, this is one that I get fairly frequently. My Amiibo, the plural of Amiibo is Amiibo. There is no such word as Amiibos. My Amiibo would win easy. They are the strongest. So I kind of addressed this in the last video as well. And Sharpmaster, great username, is correct. Hundreds of thousands of people who have trained in Incineroar Amiibo also have that title, because Incineroar is just that broken. So, like, I don't know, maybe you do have the strongest Amiibo, insofar as Amiibo can be strong, which is really just Spirit stats. But, like, you know, everyone has the strongest Amiibo if they have an Incineroar. So, you know, it's kind of a pointless way to measure yourself, you know? It's like, because everyone's got it, and you just buy the figure and train it to do a Alolan Whip, and then, yeah, you win. So, Clueless Crusader asks, what's 20XX? This is in reference to a post where I said you have to take this Amiibo to 20XX, right? Rockman is more or less correct. Basically, playing a character to perfection began in Melee as a joke, and people said that Melee would just become everyone playing Fox to perfection. So I'm actually planning on doing a like university lecture style video on what Amiibo 20XX is. Problem is, that is a very, very long and informationally dense topic, and it probably would take me at least 45 minutes just to produce a video like that. So I'll give you the short version, but there's a much, much more informational underpinning to this that you're missing. Okay, so Amiibo 20XX is basically the most optimal playstyle of an Amiibo, okay, no matter what, right? So there's 86 characters in Smash, something like that, right? If you take all of those Amiibo, you spend 1,000,000 years training tens of thousands of variants of each one, okay? And you refine all of them as much as you can. The one with the infinitesimally highest win rate, like the one barely higher than the other one in terms of just how often it wins, okay? That one would be considered like 20XX, right? The problem with Amiibo 20XX is that Amiibo are random. It's really hard to tell, like, is it playing optimally, is it not in one specific match, which is also why we tell people don't just have your Amiibo fight your own other Amiibo, have them fight other people's Amiibo, which is also why you should stick around for Amiibo Doctor stuff, because we have people do that a lot. We have like Amiibo analysis and things like that. So that's the very, very loose definition of 20XX, but that's about as close as we can get for the purpose of the video. In keeping with the topic of 20XX, this is another comment by Zoom. Zoom's actually a pretty stellar Amiibo trainer, if you ask me. Fun fact, a well-trained villager can actually beat me Brawler. So yes, as I said here, a skilled Roy can beat any Fox. So that's also a statement from Melee. Basically what that says is that at a skill level, if a player is good enough and the other player is like having a bad enough day or something along those lines, then yes, even the worst characters can beat the best characters. With Amiibo, you gotta remember, Amiibo behavior is random, okay? You can influence it, but basically what you're doing when you train Amiibo is you're influencing its randomness to go more one way than the other way, right? However, it has bad days. no amiibo matchup, with the exception of Incineroar's Alolan Whip on most characters, because that's an AI flaw. No amiibo matchup is perfectly 100%, 0% for the other, right? There's always a chance that your Bayonetta could beat a Bowser. In fact, I have a Bayonetta who's beaten several Bowsers. So, you know, and also character matchups come into play on that sort of thing as well. But basically, remember that just because your amiibo, like, beat this opponent once, doesn't mean it'll ever necessarily happen again, right? It may happen again, but it may take a lot of tries. You see what I'm saying? Our last one for the video is from BJR. Moonwalk is the meta now. So in total, the Moonwalking method works on every amiibo. No, I feel like I should have made this more clear in that video. The Moonwalk method is generally a great baseline for people to start amiibo training with, okay? It tends to raise the skill floor of many amiibo, especially low tiers. We're finding a lot of success with low tier amiibo, but in my personal opinion, the more aerial the amiibo is, the less effective Moonwalk method works on it, right? So if you have something like Bayonetta, which is pretty much always on the ground, pretty much always going to be using smash attacks, Moonwalk method, chef's kiss, okay? But if you have somebody like Lucas, who really should be in the air much more than he should be on the ground, it's not going to work very well, right? So broadly speaking, if they're ground-based, Moonwalk method's pretty good. If they're low tier, Moonwalk method, pretty good. Not going to necessarily be optimal for every amiibo in the very long run, because there's other ways to get those results, right? Moonwalk method is just one way, but it is a great place for my fanbase to start training because it raises the skill floor. So if you want amiibo that don't suck as much as they could possibly suck, start with Moonwalk method and then experiment around a little bit, find some more stuff on your own, but do always start with the Moonwalk method, in my opinion.